Today, we are diving into one of the wildest, most intense, and just plain bizarre job interviews you'll ever come across. The job opening? Prophet for the God of Israel. Our candidate is a guy named Ezekiel, and trust me, the interview process is like nothing you have ever seen.
So let me just ask you this, right up front. To land your absolute dream job, would you eat a book? And I'm not being metaphorical here. I mean, would you literally chew and swallow paper and ink? Because believe it or not, that's what this whole story hinges on.
And there it is, the command, straight from the divine employer. This is not your typical tell me about your weaknesses kind of question. No, this is the very beginning of one of the most powerful and vivid prophetic callings in the entire Bible.
All right, so let's set the stage for this absolutely incredible encounter. Now, this isn't happening in some grand temple. Ezekiel's a priest, sure, but he's in exile, living in Babylon. He's been ripped from his home, and it's right there, in that moment of displacement, that the vision hits him.
I mean, he sees this stunning, complex vision. There are fiery creatures and these crazy spinning wheels. And right at the center of it all, there's a figure on a throne who has the appearance of a man. This isn't some vague, abstract force. Ezekiel is having a face-to-face encounter with the God of Israel in a very real, tangible, human-like form.
And the very first thing God says to him is so important. Before any mission, before any commands, God calls him Son of Man. In Hebrew, that's Ben Adam, which literally means human one. It's as if, in the face of all this overwhelming divine glory, God is constantly reminding Ezekiel, hey, you're mortal, you're human. It totally sets him apart from the divine beings he's witnessing.
And you know, this whole scene brings us to a really crucial point about what it actually means to be a prophet, because it's probably not what you think.
We have this idea that prophets are basically fortune tellers, right? People who predict the future. But that's a huge misunderstanding. A prophet's main job, their primary function, is to be a spokesperson, a mouthpiece for God. And to do that, well, you have to get the message directly from the source.
This question from the prophet Jeremiah just nails it. He's calling out false prophets, and this is his litmus test. Have you actually stood in the divine council? Have you been in the room where it happens, to see and hear God's word for yourself?
You see, this means Ezekiel's vision wasn't just some crazy dream. It was his commissioning. It was his official entry into the heavenly boardroom to get his assignment straight from the CEO. This is what gives him the authority to speak. It's his credentials.
Okay, so this brings us to the most unforgettable part of the entire job interview. The moment Ezekiel has to literally eat his own job description. So this man-like figure in the vision extends a hand, and in it is a scroll. But this isn't a happy memo filled with good news. Oh no. It's covered, front and back, with words of lamentation and mourning and woe. It's a message of pure judgment and sorrow for the people of Israel.
The command is as simple as it is bizarre. Eat this. And it's not just take a bite. The text is specific. Fill your stomach with it. In other words, don't just nibble on this message, digest it completely. Make it part of your very being. And Ezekiel, to his credit, doesn't hesitate. He just does it.
And here is the twist. He eats this scroll that's jam-packed with doom and gloom, and it tastes sweet, like honey. How is that even possible? A message of pure woe tastes absolutely wonderful.
This whole act is just dripping with symbolism. See, for the ancient reader, the stomach wasn't just for digestion. It was the seat of your thoughts and emotions. So by eating the scroll, Ezekiel is literally internalizing God's message, making it his own. The bitterness of the message is for the people, but for the prophet, the act of receiving God's word is a sweet, incredible experience. He has to live the message before he can ever speak it.
So he's passed the interview. He's internalized the message. Now, who's his audience? Well, this might just be the toughest crowd in history.
He's being sent to his own people, the exiles from Judah. And God does not mince words describing them. They're impudent and stubborn, a rebellious house. And then God gives him a little heads up, basically saying, don't expect a warm welcome, because they are not going to listen to you. Why? Because they refuse to listen to me. Now, usually in these Bible stories, God says something comforting, like, don't be afraid, I'll be with you. But Ezekiel gets something, well, different. He's told not to be afraid, even though he's going to be sitting among briars and thorns and living with scorpions.
That doesn't sound very comforting, does it? But a lot of scholars point out that this phrase pops up right where you'd expect a promise of protection. They think it's a metaphor. God is basically saying, don't worry, I'm going to surround you with a metaphorical wall of thorns and scorpions, and your enemies won't be able to get to you. It's a rugged, intense promise of safety for a very rugged and intense mission.
And finally, God gives Ezekiel his official job title. And this title, man, it comes with a massive weight of responsibility.
He's not just a spokesperson anymore. He's a watchman. Think about it. A watchman is the guy on the city wall. His job is to spot danger coming from a distance and sound the alarm to wake everyone up. That's Ezekiel's new role for the people of Israel.
And the stakes, they could not be higher. Just look at this breakdown. If Ezekiel fails to give God's warning and someone dies in their sin because of it, Ezekiel is held responsible. Their blood is on his hands. But if he gives the warning and the person just ignores it and dies anyway, Ezekiel is off the hook. He has, as the text says, delivered his soul.
And this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. For Ezekiel, success is not measured by his audience's reaction. It has nothing to do with conversion rates or how many people listen to him. His success is measured entirely by his own faithfulness to deliver the message he was given, the one he ate. His only job is to sound the alarm.
And that really leaves us with a powerful question to think about. I mean, Ezekiel's job was totally unique, but this principle of the watchman, that's universal. So what about you? What message are you responsible for delivering, even when you know the audience might not want to hear it?